We're recording. Hello, everybody. I'm Stuart Cohen, and this is the Ask Stuart Hour, the Power Hour, whatever you want to call it. Welcome. We've got a tremendous turnout today. I want to welcome our brand new boot campers. Nana is in the house. First time here. Welcome. Sandra is in the house. Welcome. And I met you both. Get this, Sandra and Nana. You got something in common. I met you both out in Puerto Vallarta at the group summit, at the group event with Next. So I'm so glad that you're here. Sandra just said you do different days. Is it always Thursday? And I do different days. So here's the deal, everybody. If you're new here, and for my boot campers who've been in for a long time, you guys and gals know that I usually do Tuesdays or Thursdays. And I always do the same time. It's always 11 Eastern. And I like the flexibility for me of doing it either Tuesday or Thursday because I travel frequently during different seasons, and it gives me flexibility. And that's why sometimes I'm able to schedule out, sometimes I'm not. So I hope that will work for you, Sandra, but these are always recorded. Welcome, everybody. I want to start off by welcoming you all here. Thank you. I'm going to make the best use of this hour of power, I promise. If you have questions, issues, opportunities, successes, failures, type them in. If you're new here, there are no slides. I have no agenda other than to hear what you've got to say, what you've got to ask. I'll give it my best and open it up to the floor. One of the greatest joys of being in group boot camp and being in this neighborhood, in this community, is the sharing of best practices. So I just want to start off with this note that was very interesting to me. I'm writing a speech, a 90-minute power speaker speech, a workshop for one of my best clients, Travel Leaders Network. And the concept is learning skills how to grow in this business. For instance, how to start off going from a new agent, more transactional, to more of a specialist, growing to become more of a consultant, growing to be more of a travel, advisor, trusted advisor. As you grow in your walk in this business. And it doesn't happen in a month necessarily or a year. It could take 10 years. Everyone grows at a different level. But here's my point. How do you grow? What does it take for you to do less marketing? And Sandra, we're going to take on your question. And to have your phone ringing and your email dinging, so people seek you out, come to you, you become the magnet, and you can actually choose who you want to work with versus always working or worrying about building new business. It just comes in, it flows in. And so how do you grow in sort of that those levels, those tiers I just talked about? Well, it's about leadership, friends. It's about you being the leader in the position that you're in. And when you achieve true leadership, people flock to you. People follow the leader. You've heard this. It's true. It's real. When you become a leader in your practice, you get more referrals. People are more confident and comfortable coming to you, booking with you. You are a leader. And no doubt, Nana, I'm going to get to your question too. We're going to talk about niche, discovering your niche. The more you can niche, I think it's easier for you to become a leader, aka a celebrity authority. But it has to be all about leader for you to grow, and general leadership skills come into play here, friends. And that's what my speech is all about that I'm giving in June. There's a great quote here in this great book here, and it's by J. Abraham, and the quote is, "People are silently begging to be led." People are silently begging to be led. Friends, if you're tuned in right now, listen to my next words very carefully. If you get a phone call from somebody saying, "Hey, can you price this out? I need help." If you get an email from somebody saying, "Listen, I'm wondering if you know anything about Alaska or river cruises or this, that, the other thing. Can you help?" If they're on the phone with you, if they're knocking on your door, they are begging to be led. That's my big takeaway. Okay, so let me close it off with this, friends. They are begging for you to lead and take control. A leader takes control. Now, that doesn't mean that you book whatever you want for them. What that means is you qualify, you ask the right questions to know what is best for them, and you tell them, this is right for you. I've got your back. I'm in your pocket. I'm going to make sure you don't miss a thing. You've chosen me to be your leader, to be your travel advisor, agent, whatever you want to call yourself, and I'm going to take on that responsibility with great importance and honor. I'm humbled that you've chosen me. You've hired me. See, friends, the supplier doesn't pay you. They do. The consumer does. All right. So I hope you like my little open there. That was just on my heart to share. I want to kick off with just a question. If you're here listening, and type in, if I know, Scott, you were looking into doing that a LinkedIn training with Teddy Burris. He was in both of our summits. I think the world of Teddy. He knows his stuff. Talk about niche. He's niche in LinkedIn. What a great tool for networking and sort of quietly marketing yourself. Right? I don't use it enough. I need to take the course with Teddy. I'm just curious, and I got no skin in the game here, friends. He doesn't pay me an affiliate fee. All I'm just saying is I wonder, Scott, if you got that going, because basically if enough people were interested, it brings the price down for everybody. It's a group training event for LinkedIn. So I'm just curious. Scott, also, you were checking out Pipedrive. We talked about CRM. What are you using? What's working, what's not using everybody. Everyone wants the best system possible. So your business flows seamlessly. And there are some purpose-built for travel and some not. Some do groups, some don't. But you were checking out Pipedrive. I'm curious. I've got a whole bunch of other questions here, but I'm going to start off with you, Sandra. You sent this in by email. And Sandra, her agency is Travel by Sandra Nelson, wants to know the best way to market self with least cost. And I want to open this up to all of you, because if all of you typed in one way you market yourself that with low cost, so I'm not talking about paid marketing, paid advertising. What do? I'll read them and we all get to share. And she says, what networking has been profitable for you, Sandra? I believe you're talking about me. So I will tell you that I'm going to answer your two questions in a singular answer, because I believe that the lowest cost, but perhaps biggest effort way of marketing self is through networking. You build your network, you gain followers. Understand, friends, that in today's business world, in e-commerce world, making the quick sale is wonderful if you're out there and you expect to market yourself, meet people, and book it right away. That doesn't happen like that typically. Friends, what you want to do, Sandra, pay attention, is build your list, build followers. Like, hey, I met Sandra. She's an expert. She knows her stuff. She specializes in groups. She's a fitness expert, right? I remember. And I kind of want to be on Sandra's list. And when I say list, friends, that list could be a Facebook list, could be an Instagram list, could be a Pinterest list. It could be Twitter. It could be on a website if you're collecting email addresses. Everyone collects followers in a different way, right? But they have to have a reason to want to follow you. And what's going to happen is when they're ready to book or they have friends and family, they'll come to you. Just focus on building your list. So how do you do that? Okay, how do you do it? Well, not necessarily in this order, but here's what I do, and then I'm going to read, see what other people say. I am very active in two communities, my local physical community and virtual community. You can too. So locally, I get the local, do I have a copy here? I do, hold on. I'm back. The local Memphis Business Journal, I read diligently, and I get I'm on emails, I'm in various groups, so I want to know what's happening in my town. And you've heard this before, friends, I put myself in opportunities way. I pay 25 bucks. I go to a luncheon if there's an interesting speaker. If I see something interesting or somebody who's done something interesting, here's what I do, everybody. I have these blank cards. I print them. They only all they have is my contact information. I have stamps. I went to Hobby Lobby and I have all kinds of stamps. Nice to meet you. Awesome job. You're cool. Whatever. And then I do a handwritten note. Okay, so I attend these things, and I try to be a part of this local business community, and I volunteer. I volunteer. You may think, well, how can that market yourself? Well, it works. I volunteer as a mentor for a student leadership organization, University of Memphis. I volunteer with StartCo, which is an epicenter, which are local organizations that help startups. I do free pitch coaching for these people. Okay, I also get paid sometimes, but I do pro bono stuff too. And in the virtual communities, what's your passion, right? What communities can you join and not sell, but just participate, answer questions? And all of a sudden, you know, people start following, hey, I'm interested in you. Danny, I'm interested in you. Sandra, I'm interested in you. Hans, I'm interested in you. Sam, right? So there's two kind of communities to network through. You want to gather people. You want people to follow you. The other way is to engage them. You have to engage them. Give out free stuff. Don't sell. If you sell, you'll push them away. What do you give out that's free? Information. What are the most frequently asked questions you get? Give them a one-page PDF. Hey, here's my free PDF of the week. Great way, and it's branded, so they follow you. They say, wow, you are a leader. You're an expert, and I want to follow you. Have an event. Have a local event or an online event. I know some of you are not the most comfortable doing public speaking, and that's actually another 45-minute speech I just wrote. I love doing seminars and webinars and workshops on helping you speak better, and my client has given me that chance to do it in a few weeks. But what information are you most comfortable with that you can stand up in front of people and present? Don't sell. Don't sell. That's a whole other talking opportunity where I can help you market the event so people show up and you give them what they expect to get. So, and you can do online stuff too. You know, Skype, you can still do a certain amount of free people. There are ways to do it free, or share a license perhaps to do Zoom, or I think Zoom you can do some free stuff, right? So do free stuff, give out free information, get into communities, and I think you need to publish, you need to do something, and whether it's videos, if you're comfortable, or whether it's writing stuff for local stuff, or get people, you need to give back, you need to write. You know, in all businesses today, friends, it can't be push marketing. Push marketing means you're advertising, you're sending repetitive messages 5 times, 6 times, you're pushing. It's got to be pull. And Sandra, let me also, and this for everybody out there, if I Google you, will I find you? You need to be easily searchable. And when I come to your website, or I come to your social page, do I like what I see? Are you easy to engage with? Do you look important and impressive? And are you telling the same consistent story everywhere? Okay, so there's a couple of quick ways how to market yourself free. Is put yourself in opportunities where you set up these 15-minute meetings. Sandra, you might, and Nana, you might remember I mentioned this when we did our training together, and I mention this to my boot campers all the time. Get up, get out, schedule 15-minute meetings, and just go make friends. I know you have an agenda. I know it, but make friends. You've got to get up and get out. As my dear friend Mike Marshev always says, is you've got to let them know you're alive. Let them know you're alive. Look, nobody out there has big, ridiculous budgets to do a ton of stuff. You know, God bless you if you do. I don't. I spend minimal money, if anything, on marketing. I just do stuff. I stay active. I stay proactive. And I make friends with other people. Hey, you're a good person to know because I want to get to know your followers too. You know, I do a lot of joint ventures, friends. You know that, like Group Sales Success Summit. I do lots of joint ventures with other people who, if I help them, they help me. It's a win-win-win, like the other coaches that we had in, you know, in these past few summits. You know, I give them exposure, they give me exposure. You wash my hands, I give yours. That's another great way, Sandra. You know, so you say market yourself. Um, I really, again, I'll bring it home to the niche, and now we're going to get to you in a second. I do think that the more you niche, the more you know your story, the more people will know why they need to follow you, and your marketing message will be so much simpler versus just saying, I book dream vacations, and no pun intended for the franchise owners here, dream vacations, because how many people can say those words? So you need to use your own words, and you need to be interesting enough for me to follow you. Does that make sense? Does that help? Should we dig deeper? I want to see what everyone else wrote here too. Hey, Ramona's in the house. Good morning. Nancy's in the house. Hang on, Nancy. I'm going to get right back to you in a second. So Scott said that only 5 people are interested so far in the LinkedIn training. So if you are, go ahead and check out in our boot camp group. Scott had it posted there, or email Scott or me, and we'll get you the information again. I think it'd be great if enough of you want to do it so you reduce the per person cost. Sandra's interested in LinkedIn. Okay, so Sandra and Scott definitely hook up, connect, or I'll help connect you. Karen, thank you. Karen's in the house. She said, get out of the house. That's her marketing, her secret to marketing. Get up and get out. I love it. Kyle is here, and I know we talked podcasting last time. Get on a podcast, show host. There you go. This is what I know, Kyle, you're working on too. So it's one thing that you have your own podcast. Wait a minute. Be a guest on somebody else's show. And friends, it's brilliant, Kyle. It's a brilliant idea. And not but. When they check you out, they have to believe you're an expert. They're not going to have you on their show if you don't, have a resume, have experience, have leadership skills. People feature guests on their podcasts when they're interesting, when they're qualified, when they have certifications. Does that make sense? Cal, you know that everybody on this program knows that. Who on earth would you ask to be on your talk show if they didn't know much, if they weren't experts? So there's another great idea for you, Sandra. Karen said, attend and participate on committees in women's clubs, newcomers club, garden club, and chamber of commerce. Get in those organizations. Make those commitments. Linda said, Facebook, and I also belong to a business women's network that I'm treasurer for. And after 2 years, I'm now getting people to call me. Thank you, Linda. Welcome for sharing that. Okay, Nancy said, I market myself by writing an article once a month in local newspapers in exchange for an ad spot. I'm out having 15-minute coffees with people I want to work with. Woohoo, woohoo. Go, Nancy. And I'll go back to your earlier mention about Portugal, Nancy. I promise I'll get to you. Very cool. So you writing this down. Everybody write this down. Scott said, I need to get more people for LinkedIn. Only have 5. Expected a better number, but then I put it on the board again and got nothing. All right, we'll try to get it going, everybody. Linda said, I also do a trade show with this group to build my list. So there's another thing. Do these trade shows. Now, friends, I'm not going to dive into trade show stuff, excuse me, but you have to really analyze if a trade show or having a booth is if it's worth your time and that you work it well. So I just got a message that I had weak internet. So I hope you're still there. Hope I haven't lost you. Okay, let's keep going. Sean's in the house. Welcome, Sean. You are a new boot camper. Ain't that right? Welcome, Sean. I'm so glad you're here. So Sean says, reciprocity group. Have to choose a good one that has owners and leaders, not just salespeople. There you go, right? You want owners and leaders, not just salespeople. A whole different dimension to a salesperson. Kyle said, I build lists with bait. For example, lead generation, such as a one-page sheet listing 5 reasons a cruise can reduce stress or top 5 destinations you must visit this year. So Kyle publishes. He writes this stuff. And I know you've been a writer, Kyle. Use it, friends. You don't need to be a professional writer to bang out a one-page PDF with 3 points, right? Okay. Catherine says she's interested in LinkedIn training. So we have 2 people. We have Sandra and we have Catherine interested in LinkedIn training. There we go. All right. Now I want to go back. Hold on, because I'm getting ahead of myself here. Everyone is posting stuff, which is terribly exciting. Okay, we're going to go. Nana's next. Can you talk about niche? So, the last Group Sales Success Summit was all about niche. And it was all, I was hoping whether these people championed your niche or not, it was how they go to market, how they sell, to inspire you that you could take their practices and do it for your niche, even if they don't do what you want to do. But when it comes to niche, Nana, I would say it has to be just that real comfortable, that most comfortable place. You could do a niche 2 different ways. You could do a market-driven or you-driven. So when I say market-driven, you can look to see where there's an opportunity in the marketplace and fill that gap and become the best at it. That's fine. That'll work. And maybe it's celebrations. Maybe it's destination weddings. It's not particularly something you love, but the market is growing. There's a growth opportunity. Or it could be what's inside, as I like to say, your love circle, right? Who do you love to work with most? Where do you love to travel? Where do you love to talk about most? Okay. And so basically you're living the dream. I am, it took a while, it took years, but I finally figured out my niche. Now, if somebody goes to my website or if somebody calls me and says, what do you talk about? I know what to say. I say, I'm passionate about 4 areas, but maximizing performance in 4 areas, not necessarily in this order: leadership, entrepreneurship, salesmanship, and stewardship. Stewardship, aka personal performance. That's my motivational speech. Overcoming fears, overcoming obstacles, and achieving greatly. That's what I do. That's what I talk about. You need to have that same clear and concise, but the only way it's going to really work is if the niche is your niche. So what I would suggest you do is make a long list of all the possibilities and then pros and cons. Are they the people you want to work with? Okay. Then the products. Are those the products you want to work with? And are you willing to put the effort into becoming an expert? So that's the final question, because you need to become the best at it. And it's funny because where's the book? Where did I put the book? In Russell Bronson's book, he uses some phenomenal words. You need to become highly prolific. You need to have abundant inventiveness. You need to be a thought leader. None of these words, and everybody, are any of these words resonating with you? How to define picking your niche? I can't tell you what to niche in, because I want you to feel it. It needs to move you. You need to get emotionally charged about it, irrationally passionate. Of course, his quote, which we've heard a lot of times: the riches are in the niches, and we certainly talked about during the summit and when we did the. And by the way, you can also pick sub-niches, friends. There's nothing wrong with sub-niches. You can have your main, and then you can have smaller niches, because sometimes those people will also travel here. Like, you can do every few years a religious tour. I hate to use the word religious, but spiritual, whatever you want to call it, however you want to define that. So Nana, you tell me if I've answered that question. We could talk all day about that. But it's such a personal drive. And then, man, it's so much easier to market. You know what you want to put on your website. You know what's on your business card. And people will flock to you. People will seek you out. I have met so many agents in some fascinating niches. One of my old friends, when I say old, he's not old, but he was one of my very first coaching clients. Okay, Jason, he started off doing EDM, electronic music cruises. Have you heard of him? Have you heard of Jason's company, Wet Cruises, WHET? He's now the biggest in the world, and he does charters now, full ship charters, multiple ones a year. He followed his passion. He loved the music. He believed in it, and he brought it to ships. Nana said one of my best part of the group summit seminar was the role playing we did as a group. Can I someday do role playing? So hey everybody, when I did this actual summit with Nexion, we did role playing, and that was great. So can I do it? Man, it's real tough to do virtually. But friends, I'm trying to put together my own group sales success retreat. I just spilled the beans on a big project I've been working on, which means we get together physically. It's an enormous project, as you can imagine, and I don't know. We'll try. But Nana, to your point, we'll see. Maybe we can have a coaching hour dedicated to that. You turn your microphone on, and everyone sort of takes turns. You know, we do something. I don't know. Nancy says, good morning, Stuart. You're helping me grow. Thank you. I'm glad. I'm heading to Portugal tomorrow with 10 friends, women, walking and wine. Did you get that, friends? www. Women, walking and wine. Hans, if you're on the call right now, I love to ring to that because I know you're coming up with names, and it's great if you could come up with it. Something that has a nice ring to it, right? It's kind of cool. It doesn't always work. Was much more specific with who I invited. I used the group launch sequence, and it really works. I'll say it again, friends. Nancy used, excuse me, the group launch sequence, and it really works. Also, one friend that really wanted to go but wasn't up for 6 to 9 miles a day is now the Pied Piper for a new group to Italy in October. You see how business grows exponentially, friends? Nancy is not necessarily interested in big numbers. She's interested in big quality. She's very creative. And people on her list may not buy what she's offering here, but they may buy what she's offering here. She's the leader. You have positioned yourself as the leader, Nancy. I admire what you've done. I honor your success because people trust you. They're following you. And this is great news. I wish you the very best of success with your Portugal group. Let's see here. Let me go to Linda, Nancy, Scott. Okay, Scott, we got some more names for you. Hang on, everybody. We're coming back. Okay, Trinita. Hey, Trinita. Welcome back. Welcome back. I will see you in June at the Dream Vacations Group Summit, right? Do you have any examples of contracts between a travel agent and a group leader for a large group of 250 or more rooms? If not, is there a checklist of things that should be covered so I can protect myself since I'm signing the contract with the cruise line? So this is a great question. Do I have an example of contracts between a travel agent and a group leader for a large group of 250 or more rooms? The answer is I don't necessarily have a contract specifically for large groups. So I'm going to give you two ideas. Number one, you have to determine, Trinita, and this goes for everybody, can you use an agreement letter so it's not a legal contract, it's a letter of agreement, which is what I provide in boot camp, or is this group big enough, complex enough, is there so much risk that you need an actual contract? With 250 people, I'm thinking, Trinita, you might need a contract. I don't know the terms. I don't know if you have money changing hands. Whenever there's money changing hands and there's a lot of moving parts, it's complex, I say contract. I don't provide that because I'm not an attorney. I provide the basics, the basis for an agreement, which is more or less so that you and the group leader know what each other's responsibilities are. You hold each other accountable. So you can totally use my template for that. But here's what I'm going to tell you, and I know you kind of need it sooner rather than later, and maybe somebody's got something out there they'd be willing to share with you. I just had last week a conversation with an attorney. This attorney came recommended by a very dear friend. She specializes in retreat cruises, wellness trips, not necessarily cruises. She does corporate wellness programs, and Nana and Sandra, you may remember her, Randy. That was her third time, I think, attending that training program. Because every time you go to one of my training programs, and even in boot camp, the more you watch it, the more you get, because you're at different stages in your growth, right? So here's the conversation I had with this attorney. She has created a special, unique business creating templates. So, and this was on my list to ask all of you, and you don't have to type it here, but if you can, send me an email, post it in Facebook. But we're going to work together. She's going to create legal templates, which of course could vary by state, right? In case and she'll know if you need to check out local state regulations. But generally speaking, a contract that you could use for a large group. She will create templates, and all you do is fill in the blank and you customize it. That's what I'm working. Now, there's a fee, there's a cost. However, it will be, Trinita, significantly less for you to buy this template versus going to an attorney or even a paralegal and having them create something from scratch. Now, I don't have that yet, but I promised I would follow up with her to give her a list of potential contracts that we need. Clearly, large group contracts are, of course, leading contender. But if you all give me your feedback, what contracts would be ideal? Because frankly, once you buy the template, you have the template, okay? And I don't want to get any more details. I don't know about cost just yet, but you know, it's fun to finally have an attorney who is very willing and eager. I know we have a couple of great, wonderful, smart attorneys in our industry. I have reached out to one in particular several times, and I'm not in their sweet spot. They want nothing to do with coming on, doing a show, being in the Group Self Success Summit, writing documents, which I pay for to bring you. They don't want to do it. So, you know, you can't force people to do things. That needs to be in their wheelhouse, in their niche. I'm not in their niche, what I'm doing here. But I do have this attorney. So, Trinita, there you go. I don't have that. I don't. But you'll have to determine if you need an agreement or a contract. And if it's a contract and nobody else in boot camp has something they can share with you, then what I would suggest is you can contact an attorney, excuse me, and see if you can work with their paralegal. Because sometimes, right, a paralegal can help you, can do some work with you, for you, and it'll be a lesser charge. Their hourly fee is a lot less. And to be honest with you, how do you create it? How do you base it? You know what, friends? I would look at the contract that you're already signing with the supplier. Look at the contract you're signing with the supplier or suppliers, because basically, you know, what you're going to be doing for them is so similar, if not exactly the same. While you're not the cruise ship, right? You're not the hotel. You're representing them, you know. So that's where I would start. But I want to see what the rest of you have to say. I wish I had something I could just flip over to you, Trinita. I don't. But we're getting there. And let's all talk. Let's consider this conversation. Okay, Scott said for the CRM, we are going with AMO CRM. We will be adding this platform in June. So, hey, everybody, Scott is doing some testing, so he's going with AMO CRM. That's AMO CRM, and that's what they're going for in June. There you go. That's an update. Kay said, hey, Kay, how do you get on a podcast? Well, that's a great question. You've got to reach out to the person or the firm or the organization that produces the podcast. My guess is if they are a successful podcast, they probably have a form on their website, because they probably get inundated with requests. Feature me, because everyone wants to be featured. Because why? You'll be exposed to a tremendous audience. It's like having a radio show, a giant megaphone. So they probably have an online form you'll need to complete to prove you're worthy, and they may even interview you prior. Now, for my new company that I am in the process of launching, as you've heard about, called Solopreneur Network, I will have a podcast. I have already developed that form. anticipating, hopefully, I'll have a ton of people who want to be on the show, but I'd rather them go through a screening process first. Okay, that's it. If there are podcasts out there that you say, man, that'd be great for me, I can help, man, remember, it's got to be, you got to put on their thinking cap when they look at you and see what you've got to offer. Are they going to be able to bring their audience great value, which is what Kyle is working on. He's finding podcasts that he's got expertise. He's a celebrity authority. He's such a niche expert that he can bring great value, right? You need to find that too. Fill out those forms and work away, get on. The first one is the hardest one. And then once you're featured once, of course, that goes on your resume. Hey, I was featured here. You want me to be on your show? Because one more perspective on this, friends. If you want to be on somebody's podcast, they need to also want you. They need to go with winners. They want winners. Because, Kay, if you get on that show and you rock the house, you give out great, valuable information, free, then their listeners, their subscribers will love the podcast even more. So they have to pick winners. They have to feature great people. Like, I try my best to feature great people in Group Sales Success Summit. I get asked by lots of people, and I'm like, thank you, I'm sorry. It's just not going to work because I'm not sure their expertise enough, and sometimes their request is too self-serving. I'll end it on that note. Kyle, tell me if I sort of wrap that up nicely. Cheryl said, I'd like some information about LinkedIn training. There we go. Right. So we had Cheryl, we had Catherine, and Sandra. We have three people. Karen says, for these clubs you belong to, find out what their program topics will be for the upcoming year. Listen to Karen. She does it. For example, the newcomers had a Dr. Seitz, a French professor, talking about Beyond Paris. So I volunteered to decorate all the tables at the event with an April in Paris theme. I love it. It's simple stuff. It's basic. If you don't follow, if you don't sort of, and Sean, this was to your point before, if you just take off your salesperson's cap, say, how can I help them be successful? Because at the end of the day, what's the singular number one purpose? I believe the number one purpose of a leader is to help others be successful. Am I clear on that? That's also because I ascribe to the servant leadership style. Servant leadership. The most successful leaders are helping other people succeed. Consumers succeed having a tremendously successful group trip or vacation. Your staff succeed, and your leadership value, that your stock goes up the more people you help succeed. So what you're doing, Karen, is you're figuring basic ways. You're going to go set the tables. You're volunteering, okay? And brilliant, very creative. Oh, Catherine asked for Scott's email address. So you know what? I'm not going to say Scott's email address here because this goes in more of a public, this gets published, but I will post it in our Facebook group. I'll also, if it's okay with you, Scott, I'll put it in the next email that goes to the members because I want to get this going. Sam is in the house. Hello, Sam. Listen, everybody, listen up. I just had an amazing results-making phone call. No, I just had amazing results-making phone calls to existing clients and a couple of breakfasts and lunches with a few I had not been in contact with in a while. So I want to stop there for a second. Sandra, are you still with me? Everyone, are you still with me here? Are we neglecting the people already on our list? Are we too focused on bringing in new people than keeping the ones we have? That book I wrote on loyalty, where's my loyalty book? Okay, loyalty, just because you did a phenomenal, bang-up, spectacular job that one time or that 2 times, it doesn't mean loyalty is owed. Loyalty is earned. You go first. You need to give it in order to get it. I'm giving you all the information in my book, okay? And you need to constantly demonstrate it. Constantly. Because it's all about follow-up. There's not just follow-up after they come back from the trip. There's follow-up. This is how you build loyalty. Follow-up after you start planning the trip, after they pay you the money. During the trip, is there anything you can do? Check in with them while they're traveling. Immediately after they come back, what's your follow-up? And then lifetime after. There's a great quote. I don't remember his name, okay? He's a famous author in the sales arena, and he says, it'll come to me. Most businesses lose customers by ignoring them to death. Most customers lose by ignoring them to death. Because, you know, we said, okay, we've done a great job. We're moving on. We're going to do another great job here. No. And if you've ever been at any of my webinars, any of my teaching, my keynotes, whatever, I believe you need to shift your focus to spend more time with your existing customers than you do trying to seek new ones. So, Sandra, to your point, I just want to point this out too, that they are your biggest prospects for future business and referrals because they know you, they trust you, they love you. Spend more time with who already knows you and loves you. So let me go on. I got some great referrals, and I can't tell you how many times I heard, I've been meaning to call you, in quotes, or I'm so glad you called, and are you going to do another group next year? And Sam said, I am now. Sam, this is so darn inspirational. You set aside once a week, couple hours a day, whatever you want to do, but friends, it's got to be on your darn calendar. Calendar it and put, today I'm going to make 5 calls. So it doesn't seem so overwhelming. And here's the thing, Sam, I'm sure you probably would tell me if your phone was on right now that you ended up leaving some voicemail messages. Now, if you notice, friends, Sam said, I just had amazing results making phone calls. Did you get that? Are you listening to what we're saying here? It's not the email, friends. Emails are cheap. Emails are the easy way out. I think, you know, rather than touching base with showing your loyalty through an email, you can use an email to say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. So I know you were in Alaska last year, but this is interesting news you may be interested in, or you talk about river cruise. If you send information, but to reach out to a past client that you want to display servant loyalty to, well, I should say loyalty grade service to, you pick up the phone. And Sam, you probably ended up leaving a bunch of messages, isn't that right? You probably ended up leaving voicemail messages because people are so reluctant, are so fearful of picking up the darn phone if they don't recognize the number. It's terrible, friends. We're all getting killed with these disgusting, grotesque, annoying, egregious robocalls. Whether it's a robo or a live person. They're horrific, and they're ruining it for the good guys and gals like us who just want to make a phone call to a friend or to a past client. I'll leave you with this from Mike Marshev. I'm quoting him twice, so if you know Mike, tell him I quoted him twice. He says, your client is my prospect. Your client is my prospect. You know, at the end of the day, you don't own your clients, right? Everybody, you don't own them. They can shop everywhere they want. They can leave at any time. You need to keep their loyalty, maintain it. What Sam did, it was extraordinary. Okay, so you know, the more you keep in touch with them. To Sam's point, they said I was just going to call you. Well, what if they didn't call you, Sam? What if another travel agent contacted them and they said, oh, well, I usually book with Sam, but sure, I got you in line. You see what I'm saying? How easy it is to lose somebody. Karen said, my networking group, I think I told you about my dressing up in Patriots jerseys. Yes, around Super Bowl time to promote, excuse me, bucket list destinations. Returning from Hawaii, fam, I got a spray tan on my return, dressed up in my flowered shirt, and wore a flower lei. It reminded me we were in a fun business. We need to use travel pops when possible. Travel props. Here, I'm going to drink to that. Are you dressing the part? It's, you know, go to a networking event, dress like that. You put on a tent. I mean, that's really going all out, Karen. And wearing a Hawaiian shirt with a lei, you're making a statement. Who else could do? What other business can dress the part. Pardon me while I sip some coffee. And that's good. That's real good. By the way, our next Ask Stuart Hour, or Power Hour, I'm probably going to officially change the name because I really like Power Hour. It's kind of cool. Maybe Power Hour with Stuart. It's going to be June 4th. So sign up, please, now. So we have another fun, lively discussion like we are here. Nancy said, I have a booth at the North Atlantic Blues Festival. I go anyway, and there are no other travel vendors. Looking for a co-sponsored travel company to join me and send brochures. There you go. Opportunity. You go, hey, Nancy, as long as you could be at your booth and listen to that music, man, what a good deal, right? And you go meet people. The key is, what are you going to do at your booth? How are you going to get their business card? Remember, it's one thing you give out business cards and they walk away, they toss it in the can. But what are you getting from them to sign them up for your list? What compelling information can you give out? You know, how can you make connections? How do they know they walk by, they should stop and talk? Kay said, I'm interested in LinkedIn. I have several on there, but never market myself. There you go. What did you get? Hey, Scott, we're on a roll here, my friend. Kay said, I think that's 4. Nana said, you have recorded webinars and some of those things such as giving presentations, writing proposals for groups, etc. So here's what I want. You're new in bootcamp, Nana. I want you to watch Pitch Perfect. Watch the Pitch Perfect series. Now, that doesn't address fear of public speaking. It doesn't do that. And it's not the same speech I'm going to be giving, but that will give you from A to Z everything. You talk about a checklist. Everybody loves checklists. Man, Pitch Perfect is a darn checklist of all the things to do and not do when you're going to make a pitch, when you're going to present, whether it's to a group or just in general. Things you probably don't think of, and that's my job, is to think of it, because this is what I do for a living. So, Nana, I hope that helps you. Ramona said, which book have you been quoting from? I missed when you mentioned the book name and author. I am quoting from Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson. And this is how books get sold, because people quote from them and they talk about it. Expert Secrets, Russell Brunson. Nana said, yes, thank you. You have me thinking. Cool. Kyle said, when you have a niche, ask your ideal avatar that is having a meeting or event if you can set up a table outside their meeting doors so you can showcase what you do specific to them. So here you go. When you have a niche, ask your ideal avatar that is having a meeting or event if you can set up a table outside their meeting doors. I like to read it twice so everyone gets what everyone here is recommending, so you can showcase what you do specific to them. I think that's a great idea. See, sometimes they're having these meetings, friends, these events, and they sometimes they have booths set up, sometimes they don't, but if they think you can bring value and it's specific to what they're doing, what they're talking about, to help their cause, then you're going to be in success. You've got a nice partnership there. A little bit of a joint venture, maybe. So I hope you all got the name of that book. Kyle said you can make big bucks doing the retreat or event. Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate that. Yeah, so it's really, it's interesting, Kyle. So listen, everybody, I want you guys and gals to know that, when I get hired to do a gig, I get paid very, very well, and I don't need to do any marketing. I do an enormous amount of research and production work, crafting the speech, and of course, delivering it. I'm away from home, I'm traveling, and when I'm on stage, I'm performing. Right? It's a performance. So I believe I earn every dollar, and if I'm not earning my money, nobody would hire me ever again, right? When I do my own retreat, guess what? I'm doing the marketing. I'm taking on the full risk too of filling it, which, believe me, as an entrepreneur, I love taking risks, but smart, calculated risks. So Kyle, for me and everybody listening, the truth is, it comes down to the enormous effort, more effort I need to put in, on the front end. And I'm responsible for the event too, right? So if I don't bring an assistant with me to make sure the rooms are set, everything is good, I'm not only teaching, but I'm running the event. How much money can I make? Is that worth it? So, as an entrepreneur, as a solopreneur, I go through this when I make decisions. It may be the best idea in the world, but I can get hired to do a gig and to speak for 30 minutes and make more money You understand what I'm saying? But I'm on it. I'm working on it. I have some feelers out too. I really want to do it. If for anything else, make a couple of bucks, but to finally meet more boot campers, more people like I do with Dream Vacations in Action, who do group stuff, but also to cross it off my list saying I've done my own event, you know. And I would love to bring people to Memphis too. Sandra said, "Love women's walking and wine." So there you go. You've got a fan, Nancy. Catherine said, "Love access to legal templates. Fee is fine." So we're going to pursue that. Trinita said, "Thanks. Template sounds wonderful." Scott said, 1 a.m. 1 a.m. for he contacts. I don't know what you're referring to, Scott. Sorry. It was probably a prior conversation. Help me. Jenny said, "Instant group contracts." Great, Jenny. Thank you and welcome. Kay said, "The lawyer you used, believe on Success Summit. He said cruise lines cover themselves, not the TA. Might want an attorney to make changes where necessary to cover you, not just the cruise line." Indeed. Yes. So yeah, we did have that conversation in the Success Summit. And of course, the contract that's issued by the cruise line or by the hotel company, it covers them, not you. So you're going to definitely need to make adjustments. But I'm just thinking, what I'm saying is, Kay, that at least that's a jumping off point. That you can twist that to convert it so that it will protect you too, because that's what a contract is. It protects you. It's never usually written to protect both parties. When I do a speaking engagement, I have a contract, and sometimes companies say, "No, you got to sign our contract because my contract protects me." But of course, I'm a nice guy, so my contract also protects them. You're welcome, Kay. Kyle said, "A podcast. You can send an email. Tell a little about you." So this is how you get on a podcast, Kay. What's in it for them and their audience? If new, you may have to look to smaller shows to get to know them, and then later go after bigger shows that are related to your niche. There you go. Kyle spelled it out real well. If they don't have a form, you pick up the phone, you send an email, and you sell yourself to them. Have me on your show. Here's why. But you need to know their purpose, because if you guys are not synchronized, they're never going to call you to be on their show. But it's a great concept. Kay said, "Karen's table displays are very impressive." Yeah. So Scott's giving me permission to put his email out there for everybody. Let's see. Martha. Hey, Martha. I know you're working on niche. I have figured out my niche yesterday. Hey, everybody. If everybody can give a shout out right now and a high five to Martha, let's give it up to Martha. I figured out my niche yesterday. Philanthropical small groups. Yesterday, a sorority committee leader texted me by accident, and I called her back. Excuse me. And we chatted. I sent a recap email, good for you, of all our discussions and found it natural to suggest philanthropy idea projects while they are on their 20th anniversary trip and being shadowed by a photographer to capture all the moments to post on their Facebook page and website for future sorority sisters. She loved it, and we're going to work under letter of agreement so that the first next week she also has asked me to be on the committee of conference calls. You're in. Show your expertise. Take control when they hire you. Make sure you take control of the group, of the travel. I have also asked her to take control of the group and only have one leader, so communications with one person. Right. So Martha, so good for you. So you know who your main liaison is. Okay. And I think that's extraordinary that you're doing this. With only one person leading, she has agreed and loves the idea of hiring the photographer, taking 2 or 3 hours to get back, which is what sororities do. You did it. Way to go, Martha. Keep us in the loop. And remember, follow, and I know you're still new in boot camp, follow Pitch Perfect, follow Group Launch Sequence, follow all that stuff because it really works. Nancy, Martha said, Nancy, dress up as Blue Man at the Blues Festival. There you go. Not quite the same genre, but Blue would do it now, wouldn't it? And she would certainly stand out. Nancy said, last year at the Blues Festival, I had forms to fill out asking for contact information and then a drawing for $50 or $200 gift certificate towards a future local or global tour. There you go. That's how you get people their information. I like it. Nancy, then I sent everyone a written thank you card for stopping by my booth. Rock and roll, the written thank you cards. I get this, it's just paper. I run it through, and if I need to, sometimes I can run it through my printer, but the inside is always handwritten. Okay, and did I show you my postcard? I'm just sending out a postcard campaign to everybody I know, and I haven't done it for my past clients, but that's next. That's here to remind me. If you can think big, I will help you do big. Got them on Vistaprint. It's worth the investment. Nana said, thanks again, Stuart. You are the best. That's very sweet of you. Very kind of you. Just doing what I love to do and having a lot of fun doing it, especially when you're all here and we're working together, we're participating. Kay said, thank you. You're welcome. Garrett said, my women's club does a fashion show every year. I gave them the idea of tying it to travel. In short, when the store manager introduces the model, describing her outfit, she then hands me the microphone asking, Karen, and where is Susan going on that outfit? I launch into, quote, Susan is going on a wine tour to Tuscany, blah, blah, blah. Audience gets really engaged, and it's great PR for me. Send me a note if you want the notes for the fashion show. Going to do another one in the fall. That is brilliant. Excuse me. Brilliant. So you've got a fashion show. They give you the mic, and you come up with you paint a beautiful destinational picture of where that model is going. Excuse me, dressed like that. It's brilliant. It's fun. It's immersion. It's selling benefits over features. Because if you just said it's going on a wine cruise, it wouldn't be as sexy as telling all the things she's going to do wearing that while on the wine cruise. You know, going into a wine cellar, meeting the family that's been crafting that wine for 100 years, sipping it and being comfortable, but also being standout. You know, whatever it is, I love it. Good stuff. Hey, listen, everybody, we have 2.5 minutes left. So before you go, stick around. You never know what's coming in the last 2 minutes. So get in your final comments, questions, and situations. Kay said, think big, do big. Do you write something on it as clients travel suggestions? Well, so I do. I handwrite a note here. Like, for instance, I got the list. I'm a member of Memphis Tourism, our local convention and visitors bureau, right? So I have access to the list of every conference coming into Memphis. Who's smarter than me? I pay $300 a year to be a member, so I'm buying that list, plus tremendous networking. I have gotten paid gigs. In fact, I did the keynote for the Convention Visitors Bureau, a 15-minute keynote 2 years ago. Me. And it gave me exposure to everybody. In any case, so I got that list, and I hand wrote to everyone, hey, you're coming to my hometown, Memphis, because a lot of companies love hiring local speakers, right? That's my niche. I speak, I live around the corner, which means that they don't have to pay for airfare and hotel usually. You coming? How can I help? I'm excited you're coming here, blah, 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 and it's got to be repetition. I got no phone calls from the first one, but I am not pushed aside or dismayed, because we know it's got to be repetition. So I'm going to send out the next line, but I'm going to give some information too. There I was just introducing myself and welcoming them. Karen said, this time I'll be showing pictures on a big screen of that destination, and we may go do a contest for the audience to guess the last outfit. I love it. That's great. You're going to show pictures too. All right, we've got 60 seconds left, everybody. Did I get to everybody's question, answer? I don't know. What else was on here? Somebody had asked me, they didn't join boot camp, but they're wondering that if they do join boot camp, will they get a form, like a qualifying form, so they can go off of a form to ask questions. And we do have that in boot camp. I have a form there. But here's the challenge, folks. I can come up with a bazillion questions, as you can too. But at the end of the day, each question, when you ask a question and they answer it, then you have variables, right? Then you're going to go this way or this way. And then when they answer this, they're going to go this way or this way. And then when they answer this, there's so many variables, it's so hard to come up with a set form. You don't want to sound mechanical, like you're reading off a script. So I got to give her thought, because I've got it for her, but it's the art of the sale. It's asking the right questions. And I'll leave you with this note. You all know, before you go, wait, you all know, but I tell you, your first question should be, What don't you want? What don't you want? If you uncover the stuff they don't want, that they got last time they didn't want, that they didn't get last time that they did want, you're a step ahead. All right, my friends, time is up. I'm glad you're here. Scott, you are so welcome. This has been fun. Thanks for being on Power Hour. We'll see you again June 4th.